Hello dear chess lovers. Today I will show you two very striking rook sacrifice examples from chess history. Such sacrifices have huge impact in one chess life, at least for me. They become really memorable in our chess memories, and I want to share their beauty and striking features with you in this episode. The first example, we will start with an endgame by David Bronstein, one of the most creative chess masters from history. He came extremely close in gaining the world title in his match against Botvinnik, which ended in a draw. Botvinnik kept the title. But Bronstein is a very unconventional and creative master, and this example highlights his chess vision. Black to play, folks. Black has an extra exchange, but it looks like there is no way to make progress. Please take a stock and observe the situation right now. It looks like it's a full fortress because black has no natural pawn breaks left to open up more lines to activate the rooks. It looks like there is no entry point for our rooks. And yes, the single bishop, although it's inactive, is just keeping the entire structure. Together with those pawns, completely locked pawn structure, there's a beautiful outpost on d5. There is no way for black to naturally change the picture and activate the rooks. Now comes my question. Can you become more unconventional and creative? Please look at that hidden resource that gives something to black in this position. Stop the video. You can even set this position up on a physical board and create one good looking idea for black. Now folks, you're a great player if you found Bronstein's move Rook takes b3 in this position. As one famous chess personality says, sacrifice the rook or something. I forgot how it goes. But black is sacrificing the rook in this position with this beautiful move, rook takes b3. What's the point of this move? If they capture back with the king, which is the game continuation, then Bronstein enters with the move rook b6. By the way, if they capture with the a-pawn, that's easier to calculate because a2 was the main point and now the bishop must sacrifice for the rook. The rook gained access to the second rank, and after rook d2 comes my question. Should black exchange those rooks or play something else? That's a beautiful position again to judge the value of an exchange in chess. And you're a great player if you found the only winning move, rook a1. Your rook is much more active than the white rook, and now those targets on the king side will be exploitable by rook g1 or rook e1 this position. This line is completely winning for black because of better piece activity. Okay, so this was the first line Bronstein is seen after the sacrifice rook takes b3. But what if he takes back with the king as in the game continuation? It looks like they will save their bishop with this move, right? And now we see the real depth of Bronstein's chess vision. He enters with rook b2. What's the next move? Targets on the king side, rook e2, and now those pawns are dropping one by one. What's the entire point? The entire point and the claim is this: my pawns will be more valuable than your bishop on b1. Your king is cut off. I have a beautiful rook on the second rank in his position, and Bronstein is betting on the value of his pawns in his position. You see, that's the only way for white to cling on to the weak pawn on g3, but this rook is terribly paralyzed. This bishop is quite passive as well, and now Bronstein is picking one more pawn in this position. And please take a stock. Please take a stock in this position, folks. Black just got 3 pawns for the bishop, and this was Bronstein's calculations. He's betting this is a better position for black, and he is right. Black gave himself an almost winning advantage by entering this line. I will even show you how he converted. It's easy to understand. 3 connected passed pawns in the endgame with a better rook also gives us, huge advantage against the bishop. Again, there were some slips along the way, not the perfect play for both sides, but eventually Bronstein prevailed. But the entire winning idea is actually very simple. Rook c3 might not be the best. I think king d6 will be even better. We must move the king up in the endgame. Yeah, just very natural move, king d6 was better. Rook c3, the problem is you allow the move rook b3 right now. And obviously the trades are favoring white in this position. If you take on b3, then they will capture back like this. And the bishop is becoming an excellent piece. And those pawns are also stopped like this, right? So you cannot take on b3. That's why Bronstein first checks the king with this move. Then comes rook c1. He still keeps rooks on the board despite the fact that you're dropping the pawn on a3. In fact, white grabbed the pawn on a3, which was a mistake. The only way to survive potentially for white is the move rook d3, but also very difficult to find this move. What's the point? The point is to get this b3 square for the bishop. This way, you gain some stability in this position. c4 doesn't work because of rook takes d4 check, right? White has gained some stability, although black will give so many threats with rook g2 check, followed by takes. You see, even this position, black has a small advantage. You can gain more pawns, but at least the bishop is becoming a good piece, right? They are blockading our pawns on those light squares. This was the best way for white to fight in this position, but defending is not easy. That's why he took the pawn on a3, and then comes Bronstein's very natural move, c4, right? Now those pawns are rolling, slowly rolling, also in conjunction with the king being tied down, the bishop. This is already a big threat. The bishop can no longer access this b3 square, and now black is still achieving a winning advantage. You see how he improves his king step by step. King c5, right? King b4. The king is entering to c3, a3. Should we grab the pawn or the bishop or something else? You tell me. Should we grab either of these things or do something else? Bronstein doesn't care about the material. He activates the king even further, and now 3 pawns, much better king, much better rook. The game is over. Bishop b5, check, followed by d3, and he resigned, because if he take on c4, king d2 is coming, and now look at this. There is no way to stop these pawns, and white resigned in this position. If you take on a4 with the king in this position, folks, then you allow rook takes c4 check, followed by rook takes d4, and white is completely fine in this position. You see, in this position, he says no to the material, but just improves the king and supports those passed pawns, and the game is completely finished. Rook takes b3 is objectively the best move for black in this position. It takes real guts to play this move, but you see Grandmaster's vision, you see Grandmaster's eye for long-term prospects in this position for black. He's looking at all the targets. He sees there's no counterplay for white. Their pieces will be tied down, and he's entering this line with 3 pawns for the bishop. He's absolutely correct. Black is actually -1 in this position. According to Stockfish, black has all the chances to win this position. Also, if you don't sacrifice the rook in this position, but let's say play a move like rook b6, intending such ideas at some point, well, bishop c2, and they are covering against your only counterplay to break through, and now there is no breakthrough left for black. Please take a stock in this position. There is no real way for black to make progress. It's a complete fortress, in fact. Only pawn break is g5, but white will just capture g5. You see, this also shows us sensing the critical moment in chess. You understand that that's his last chance to play for a win. Indeed, he's absolutely correct. So this rook sacrifice had a big impact on me as I was growing as a chess player, and I wanted to show you this in today's episode. Then comes the second game. This one is much more famous than the first one. Pillsbury versus Emanuel Lasker. St. Petersburg 4 Masters Tournament 1896. Pillsbury was a youngster from the States. He was really promising, crushing people, and now in this tournament he was also leading. Also had a plus score against Emanuel Lasker. This was the key game in that tournament, according to Kasparov. This game sort of shaped these people's chess trajectories. Pillsbury did not really achieve his full potential, partly because of this loss against Lasker, but Emanuel Lasker went on to have a great chess career. Okay? Well, f5 is on the board, folks. f5 is on the board. What should black play in this position? But please, take a stock. Look at the entire picture. What is the most interesting imbalance in this position, do you think? If I ask you, what is the most significant factor in this position? What would you say? Folks, to my mind, it's totally about kings on opposite flanks, right? In such positions, the value of material is going down, as you know, and the value of piece activity and time is going higher. In such positions, we should be willing to sacrifice even more to get our pieces to the attack first, because that will decide such games. If you coordinate your pieces, if you start your attack first with full force, then it doesn't matter. You can be down a rook or even more and still deliver checkmate. All right? So that's the first orientation phase that will dictate our candidate move search in this position. Now, having said that, tell me a couple of candidate moves for black in this position, right? Also, look at this. The bishop is still on f1 and black pieces are more coordinated right now. If you purely also ask yourself about the coordination, yes, black is better developed. Black is more ready to fight in this position on the queen side. Okay, now, what would you say, folks? What do you think Emanuel Lasker played in this position? Folks, you're a great player if you found Lasker's move, rook takes c3. This is stock standard Soviet exchange sacrifice that now become standard, of course, across the years. One very key idea, very simple idea, is just to remove the defender around the white king and to rip open the entire structure, right? Rip open the b file and create weaknesses around the opponent's king. In fact, this exchange sacrifice is so logical that it can be played without much calculation in such positions. The trouble in this position is this: your bishop was also hanging, right? So you're totally ignoring the opponent's threat and still going for the sacrifice. In fact, in this position, even bishop b7 was an okay move. Equally strong, let's say, to rook c3. But I mean, this allows moves like queen f3. White is putting some pressure on the pawn. And then you will play moves like this. It's more passive to treat this position with black. Although even here, black is slightly better. Okay? But look at Lasker's solution. He first takes on c3. Pillsbury takes on e6 instead, right? If you take back with the pawn in this position, then Lasker's point was maybe to take on c3, but objectively the best move is rook c8, folks. This is actually a beautiful thing. Black is completely winning in this position because black's attack is starting first. Now you also weakened the enemy king in the process. If you take on e6, then queen c3, and please look at black's piece activity and look how lonely the white king is in this position. Well, you can take on f7, doesn't matter. This pawn is an umbrella shielding my king. There is no more check to follow for white. And now our attack is just raging on the queen side, right? If you play the move queen e2 in this position, please find the good move for black. Yes, bishop takes d4. And now even the bishop is joining the party. Can they take on d4? You tell me. No, because the rooks are split for white. If you take on d4, you allow queen c1 mate, right? That's very relevant. White's lack of development in this position. So after bishop takes d4, the game is completely finished. Black is completely winning this position, folks. They have to sacrifice their queen like this, but it doesn't really matter because even in the final position, if you pay close attention, black is having a material advantage with a completely crushing position. So that's why maybe Pillsbury did not take the rook on c3, but took the bishop on e6 instead. And now comes my question to you. Can you find Lasker's surprising and amazing next move from this position? That's objectively the best move for black indeed. And you're a great player, folks, if you found the move rook a3. Sacrifice the rook, as DrCanChess is saying, right? That was DrCanChess. Yes, he's sacrificing the rook in this position with the move rook a3. What a crazy looking move this is, don't you think? What's the point of this paradoxical rook sacrifice? He's inviting Pillsbury to take on a3. Now, he did not take on a3 in the actual game, but took on f7 with check. This was not a good move because after rook f7, my rook is still swinging towards the queen side easily and you not gain anything in the process as white. Okay? This was the best move in the position. Can you tell me Lasker's main point? Yes, queen b6 check was the main point. This rip open your king. If the king walks to the c file, you're allowing rook c8 checks. That's not good for you. But if you go to a1, then this bishop is showing its teeth, as you can see. Now you must take my bishop, otherwise you get mated. And after king b1, after f takes e6, the rook is activated in its initial square, and perfect judgment by Lasker. Black has a completely winning advantage. Black has 2 pawns for the bishop, but white cannot do anything in this position, folks. Please look how exposed their king is on a1, and black heavy pieces are so active. In this position, queen d4 followed by queen d2, and the entire thing is collapsing for white. Black is completely winning. That's why after queen b6, Pillsbury had to find the move bishop b5 to divert the queen in this position. Well, the whole idea is to drive the queen to a light square, so bishop takes d4 won't come with check. Another defensive trick for you. That's a better version for white, but still, black is the one with a slight advantage in all these complications, folks. Even after b takes a3, black would have a better game. But that will be a better choice for Pillsbury for sure after rook a3. Instead, he took the pawn on f7, and that's a better version for Lasker. I will show you how the game goes. Now he takes on a3, of course, queen b6 check. And Pillsbury is a very smart player. He finds the move bishop b5. That's a counter sacrifice. As I said, if the king goes to a1, then you're allowing bishop takes d4 check. You must sacrifice your rook in the process. But then that's a much better version for black, folks. Queen e4 check is coming, and then queen e1 checks are coming, followed by this, right? You cannot survive this position at all in this position. Black is just a wishing attack. Please watch carefully, folks. There will be one more crazy rook sacrifice that is coming very, very soon. King a1, black is down in exchange, but black is having a much better position because of dynamism and attack that decides such positions. Lasker made a mistake with rook c7. Extremely logical and yet a mistake. Better move was queen c4 with this idea in mind. The queen is looking at the pawn on d4, forcing a passive move like this, and now comes rook e7. There is no more check to give. Rook c1 is not possible because of this. Everything is paralyzed in the white's camp, and rook e4 or rook e2 is coming. You see it, right? Look at the black's piece coordination in this position, folks. Black is completely winning in this position. It's a shame that Emanuel Lasker missed the very strong queen c4. He played the move rook c7. Now Pillsbury is in the game again. 0-0-0-0 according to Stockfish. In Lasker goes rook c4, folks. Very logical move. Bishop takes d4 is one of these ideas. Pillsbury must have find the move rook e1 in this position. That's the only way to survive, but he plays too passively with the move rook d1. Rook e1 was a great move, folks, because if you take on d4 in this position, just doesn't work for you. Just doesn't work for you. Rook e8 is coming, and now the game is actually over in white's favor. Can you see it? Can you see how sharp those positions are? Black has to be so careful, and they must find the move queen a5 to keep the queen on that file. And now, after queen f5 check, g6 is coming. If you take the bishop, folks, then you allow mate in 2. Can you please go through this? Can white take on f6? Please, can you blunder check this move, folks? Well, if you take on f6, then you invite a mate in 2. Black is winning, but white, to be able to survive in this position, has a counter rook sacrifice, rook e7 check. Crazy, completely crazy, and black is going for a perpetual in this position. Queen e8 check, followed by this check, and the queen is going to be checking the black king forever. White is saving this game after rook e7 check. Incredible. If you drop back to g8, then that's even worse for you because this check comes with mate to follow. There is nothing else. If you do this, then this allows this move check. White is completely winning. That's why black has to oblige, and white is saving the draw. Just crazy, crazy sharp positions. But again, very instructive. White should have kept active rook in his position, but Pillsbury passively plays rook d1. Now, Lasker, if he found the move queen c6, folks, black is completely winning because of rook c1 idea in his position. Everything is paralyzed. White cannot hold this position. Bishop g5 is also quite nice. Coordinating towards the square c1, black is completely winning in this position. Rook c2 doesn't work because I take. If this, then comes rook c1, and mate will follow. As you can see, beautiful coordination. Queen c6. Lasker did not find the move. He plays rook c3. And now white is back into the game. It's crazy how many swings has happened in this game. Queen f5 is a very good move, folks, because the queen is eyeing some key squares while also eyeing such ideas against the black king. Queen c4, Lasker's move. Now comes Pillsbury's choice, king b2. Another mistake. The only move to survive and even get a better position was king b1 in this position. The whole point is after takes, rook c1, and now white is activating their pieces. Their king is very safe. Rook b2 is coming, and now black has to exchange the queens to survive, but white is having a better endgame with an extra exchange in this position. Crazy stuff. After king b2 comes my next question. Can you find Lasker's beautiful winning idea in this position? Lightning strikes twice on a chessboard, and that's my final hint for you. Black to play and win, and yes, you're a great player if you sacrifice rook if you sacrifice the rook with rook takes a3. Beautiful rook sacrifice by Lasker. Lightning hits twice in this game. The first sacrifice, rook a3. The second sacrifice, rook a3 again. Incredible. In two different occasions, a rook appeared on c3, followed by rook a3 sacrifice. In this case, that's the only winning move indeed. Well, queen e6 check was the game continuation. King h7, and now he took on a3, which was another blunder, but black was already winning in this position. Now, your task is to find the finishing blow. Black to play and mate in 5. Please stop the video and calculate all the way to the end from this position. That's a great forcing move calculation exercise for you. Queen c3 check, folks. King b5. What's the next move? b5 check. Beautiful. Everything is so forcing. What's the next move? Yes, queen c4 check. Driving the king to a5. What's your next move? The bishop joins the attack by a retreat. And now mate is on the board. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it one of the most amazing games that you ever seen in your life? After rook a3, white has no defense in fact. Queen f5 check might appear to be a better move, but in fact after king g8, that's a very smart move. Queen e6, now the king is going to h8. That's a great move order for black in fact, because you're only giving them this choice of queen e8 check, but after king h7, there are no checks left, right? There is no perpetual, and black is having so many ideas like this. And now if you take on a3, it looks like the queen is covering the b5 square. It looks like it's a better version for white. In fact, nothing changes. It's black to play. You tell me the only winning move for black. Right now, on the contrary to the first line, b5 doesn't work because of queen takes b5. But there is still a great move for black in this position. Remember, there is no perpetual check to worry about. Thus, black can take its time and play the move a6. And nobody's stopping the move b5 on the next turn. Your king is totally exposed, cannot retreat, and the game is completely finished in fact. Yeah, white needs to play a move like rook b2, but then I just take on b2, followed by b5. Anyways, if you do rook b1 instead, I still take on d2 with a completely winning position as black. That's incredibly beautiful, folks. Even if you allow rook takes b7 here, well, there are so many winning moves here, including queen takes a2, followed by queen b1, followed by this. Black is completely winning this position. I will leave you guys with this rook sacrifice, rook takes a3, and the historical significance of this game. Garry Kasparov annotated this game on ChessBase, and he says, too many mistakes, you say? Please don't rush to write off this game. Remember its unique historical importance, he says. That day, Kaisa chose Lasker, and as we know today, the chess goddess did not err. Her cool decision marked a fork in the lives of these two players. Lasker, inspired by this victory, won the tournament convincingly. And the same year, Lasker crushed Steinitz for the rematch, and he kept the world title for 25 more years. Amazing, 25 more years. And Pillsbury, after the loss, a disaster, he collapsed. And he lost 5 games out of remaining 8 after this game. It's a total collapse for Pillsbury. He was leading the tournament until this game. Imagine what would happen if he actually won this game against Lasker. According to Kasparov, this was a real fork. He never achieved the same peak of playing strength after this magical, magnificent year. And he died 8 years later at the age of 34. That's a shame, right? Pillsbury lost his life at the age of 34. I will leave you guys again with this position where Lasker find in 2 different occasions the best move, rook a3 sacrifice. And who knows, maybe lightning really strikes twice on the same square on a chessboard. Next time you see moves like rook a3 sacrifice, you should remember Emanuel Lasker. Thank you so much for today, and I will catch you on the next episode, folks. Bye-bye.